I know. Phew. I am late. Time zone difference. Before I even start the giveaway, I gotta let you guys know where I'm still doing the shit show tomorrow with Coach Robb and Cooksey. It's going to be a halfway show between the season, right? Because we're pretty much halfway. And we're going to talk a lot of dirt about Tomac, Sexton, the Lawrence brothers, Deegan, both East and West Coast, the Triple Crown coming up in my hometown now. You know, I'm actually from Colorado, but currently reside in Arizona for that race. So if you guys are down there, definitely come on by because I am going to go to the race. I'm probably going to be up high so I can see everything since I'm not really allowed to be much of press, but I digress, right? They can't keep me from buying a ticket. I can't bring a huge camera in, and I can't get a press pass. So whatever interview I do with some of the riders or what, it'll just be from my cell phone, which is kind of a bummer. That's just how it is, right? So I'm not too horribly worried about it. And I also am doing a show with just Coach Robb. He is the sponsor for the giveaway this month as well. Ironically, it's about recovery, and he is going to talk about acute recovery. I just tore some ligaments in my ankle, which is not that big of an effing deal, right? It's not that big of an effing deal. Been on crutches for 3 days or so. I'm pretty much done with the crutches tomorrow, and I'm going to be going around my day. The hard thing is taking care of my little girl, because you guys know that I'm Mr. Mom at the moment while my wife is in school. And so I'm juggling all sorts of stuff, but that's beside the point. We're going to talk about recovery and how people do it wrong. He's probably going to tell me how I'm doing it wrong, right? Since I'm trying to train for this Ironman, and what I've known from racing is whether you're a McAdoo or just a weekend warrior, we kind of want to push our chests out and try to be the biggest effing dude and not complain about even small injuries. Hence why I made that video yesterday, and this whole deal that was like, hey, what am I effing doing? You know, I just made a small little mistake. I went deep into a rut, and my foot dropped just enough to where it caught the dirt, and then it just snugged my leg back, and I was sitting there going, oh fuck, I'm gonna hear a pop out of my knee again, because you guys probably don't know because I don't spread it out there, but I've torn my ACL 4 times, 3 on one leg and 1 on my left, right? It's a bummer. I've torn them with knee braces. I've torn them without knee braces. I've played with both. You know, knee braces have honestly potentially have hurt me worse in some instances, because I had one instance where I had some asterisk braces, and it didn't allow the knee to twist. And so what it did is when I twisted my knee, or when I was crashing, you know, I was like, what was I, 22 maybe at the time. And what ended up happening was, here, let me just get to a full screen again, is the knee, I ended up ripping quite a bit of the cartilage off of the bottom of my femur. And so it was just floating around there. And that cartilage is just like a white but soft part of the bone. So it was worse than tearing my ACL, because the doctors had to go in there and drill several holes into my femur, and I wasn't allowed to put any weight on my leg for 11 months. Yeah, 11 months I had to make sure I didn't put any weight. And for the first 3 months, I had to be in a machine for 4 hours a day to just try to form that, well, you know, because it was just moving my knee back and forth. But because they drilled a bunch of holes, it was filled with blood, so they were trying to get it to form back. And in hindsight, I probably would have tried to gone to a doctor and get some human growth hormone and blah, 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 of what I know now, because it would have sped up the process. But again, just the majority of part of my professional career is I spent sidelined because of stupid injuries. That was a year where I couldn't even ride. I felt good, but I just wasn't allowed to do anything. But anyway, I digress. Make sure tomorrow, noon Pacific time, it is going to go off on time. It's going to go on time. We're going to talk about mid-season, and then I'm going to release a recovery video with Coach Robb on how you should do it, even if it's a bad injury or a small injury, just like me essentially spraining my ankle, because that's tearing the ligaments. There's 3 different types of sprains. I'm almost on grade 3-ish. That's why the doctors were telling me that I should do nothing for at least 4 weeks, and potentially, they gave me a window of 3 to 12. And of course, as an old rider, you're like, oh, I'll be good at a week and a half, but that's just not how it goes, especially as I'm getting older. So, guys, DJ, I hope you're getting better. I appreciate it, buddy. And then Vasquez, appreciate it too, homie. Yeah, guys, I'm the biggest hindrance about me is trying to have a crutch and hold the baby at the same time. That's what makes it difficult. But let's get into this giveaway, because we're giving away a full blend of energy fuel, and this is what you would take before and during if you're riding, whether it's a GNCC or just your weekend warrior. They've got different types. We'll go over a little bit. And then the recovery blend. This is from Coach Robb, and these are literally one is $60 and the other one is $70. So this is, about $150 with the shipping involved. This is good stuff. I've been using this stuff a while I've been training for the Ironman, and I can contest that, dude, this is real good shit. I will get Robb on, and we'll talk a little bit more about this stuff, because, he's the dude that developed it, so he knows a little bit more. But here, we'll go over, if I can get my screen. See, this is the problem with doing live shows when you're the only one working on shit, right? I've got 4 screens here and my OBS here. I really need to hire somebody to be able to do that. So yeah, once this channel takes off, I'm going to hire somebody to freaking help me out so that it can just be a little bit more professional. But you guys have seen what we make on this channel, or what I make. What am I saying? What I make, and it's ridiculous, right? But I do get copied a lot by the moto media. They may not want me in the building for stuff, but they'll sure as hell copy my ideas, which whatever, I get it, right? That's I'm all for innovation, and if I can lead a little bit away and give some guys, whether it's Vital, Racer X, any of them, give them a little bit of an idea of, hey, maybe we should be doing this kind of stuff. Sweet. It's elevating the sport as a whole. So the energy fuel, right? You've got the Boost and then the Energy Fuel Plus, and they've got different sets of calories. And it pretty much goes in how intense you're going to do. So the Energy Fuel Light is low, Energy Fuel Boost is high, Energy Fuel, right? Not Energy Fuel Light, but just plain Energy Fuel. This is what I use. Intensity is moderate to high, but that's just because of my volume. Typically I have been running close to 30 to 50 miles a week, which has been a lot on my aerobic system. And now I'm going to cut that back a little bit, and I'm going to start cycling more. And pretty much I work out every day is basically it, whether it's an hour lifting weights or it's 2 hours running, or, that kind of thing. But my program is going to change, and I'm going to keep you guys up to date as I heal. Once I'm healed, because I'll be doing more swimming, because I'm like a drowning fish with all my injuries. My hips tend to sink, and I just seem like an anchor weight. So I'm honestly terrified of swimming over a mile in open water with 100 other people. But we're getting back to this, and it just basically goes, I really go off of just the intensity. what you're doing. A lot of people get wrong with intensity is they feel intensity and volume, right? So I could do a mile sprint, and is that really high intensity? Yes. But is it super taxing on the body? Not incredibly, because the volume's not there. But if I go run a half marathon or anything over, 10 plus miles, that is more taxing on the body just because of the duration. I'm talking 5 minutes versus 2 hours kind of a thing. But a lot of people feel like, hey, if they get their heart rate high for a short period of time, it's the intensity and it's volume. It's just intensity, right? So this is why I stick with the moderate to high. And it actually doesn't have any caffeine. I didn't know that one didn't have any caffeine. Oh, that's why there's the boost there. And this is all natural stuff with electrolytes. And I haven't looked too much about the recovery. Easy absorption, great in smoothies. I've honestly haven't tried the recovery. I'm just going to start trying it. So whoever wins this, I want your guys' honest opinion on what the recovery looks like. And if you guys are wondering how you can join, right, you just have to be a Patreon supporter here, or you could be a channel member. And the Patreon supporters get like 3 to 4 entries because they're just spending more, right? But I want to make sure that I'm giving the majority of what we make back to the community. And ideally, I'd love to do something like Kevin Moran's, where he's got quite a bit of money going in and he's giving away a bike, etc. So that's what we're all try to do in the future. So where the heck is my raffle? So here we go. Here is the raffle, right? And this is live, so hopefully I didn't mess anything freaking up. Dun 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 dun. Drum roll, Chopstick Chinaman. You have won the energy fuel, dude. So if you are the member of the YouTube, I do not have access to your email address. So I will post that on my YouTube private members page so that you can message me what address and what flavor you want as far as the energy fuel, because there's a few different flavors here. Fruit punch, I really like fruit punch, is really good, and I just got watermelon, and watermelon is really good. Dun dun dun. Nico is saying it's time for me to sell my bike. Honestly, I have been trying to sell my bike. I've been trying to sell my bike because I need to buy a triathlon bike, and I'm thinking of getting a 125 or something to try to have more fun, so that I know that when I show up at the track, I'm not going to be close to the fastest guy there anymore because I'm on a 125. That's really, really my plan here. And then, there might be something newer and cooler coming up, but I have a 2020 factory edition 450 with 20 hours on it. I spent $13,000 cash on it, and so I've got the title, but I'm not going to sell it for $6,000. People keep trying to lowball me for $6,000. I'll take $7,500. I have it posted for $8,000, but I would take $7,500 for it. But that's just it. I honestly should have sold the sucker when I was talking with Jace at Gypsy freaking 2 years ago, because I haven't ridden much. I've been riding like 3-4 hours a week, not a week, a year, because typically I do 2 motos, and each moto is over 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes. That's just how I've been riding, and I'll do 2 motos and I'm pretty much taxed done, and then I load up and ready to go home. But I want to get a 125. It'd probably be a KTM or a Husky is really probably a 150, and then I might even big bore that shit out so that it's a little bit more, because I would like to have a little bit of a bottom to it. But I digress, guys. Dun dun dun. Chopstick Chinaman, you are the winner, dude. So I'll put it on the message board so that you can message me, dude, and you can pick what you want, and then we'll get that all going and mailed off to you, dude. But hey, thanks, guys, for spending just a little bit of time. Oh, Brennan Walsh, one of the channel members, he has spoken. He says, I need a 350. Dude, two of my buddies just bought 350s, and I'm not there. It's so close to a 450. I'm not a big fan because the 450's got enough power to where I could do what I want. The 350 is damn near the 450, just with not as much bottom end. And then a 250, you have to just ride a 250 really hard, and you can still get in trouble on a 250, right? So truthfully, what my ego needs is a 125, you know. And guys, this might sound stupid, okay, but before I just end the stream, if I'm just being honest, so I'm honestly super stoked about the Stark bikes because, lack of a better term, I kind of have PTSD over mechanical stuff. I'm not going to go on the list of times I've been hurt because of mechanical failure, but I'm not the most mechanically inclined person because I was spoiled growing up. I had a dad that lived and breathed moto, and so he worked on my bike constantly. You know, yeah, I can do simple stuff, clutch, change my tires, do all sorts of, you know, little itty bitty stuff, but I'm just not as proficient at it as my father was. And he was basically my pro mechanic for so long. And we started having issues once I did go pro because it kind of turned into a family business relationship. You know, you guys know the story. But I'm honestly stoked about the electric stuff coming out because there's just less moving parts to break. So it's almost like grabbing that bicycle. You make sure a couple things are tight and you're off. You don't have to worry about some shit, valves dropping, getting a new top end put in, all sorts of mumbo jumbo happening, right? Dun, 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 smarter than weed chopper. Hey, I appreciate that. Honestly, Wyget, I don't think I'm smarter than Wyget. Speaking of that dude works incredibly hard, and I respect the hell out of him. And he's very well spoken. He does a good job. I don't know how he spends as much time away from his family doing the broadcasting stuff. It's just, yuck. But I'm going to sign off. Oh, Rob, I know you guys think electric bikes are dumb. I just got an electric truck. It's half electric, hybrid. I'll probably have a video of that coming out too. But I don't know. It's definitely the future. You know, I am... Oh, God. I'm trying to get away from my channels not that politically centered. So, but I will let you guys know. I'm a Trump guy, right? I'm a Republican. Always been a Republican. I want the government to stay the F out of my business. I want to pay less in taxes with my LLC and give it more to the family, invest more in crypto, in stocks. I don't want to be giving it to the government, right? And however, there are certain things that I do like that I'm more left on, and that comes to renewable energy. We have a sun that is just sitting there, and that's the most fuel efficient thing in the universe. It's what created everything. And we just need to be able to figure out how to harness that by not destroying the land we have by having just solar panels just effing everywhere, right? You know, once we can kind of figure that out, it's going to be good for the planet because we will run out of fossil fuels. As much as I've got good friends that are just all about diesel and blah, blah, blah. I could have an argument. Not an argument, but we could banter back and forth and debate because I'm open to anybody's different point of view because I don't have to walk your shoes. There might be something that you know that I don't know. I'm a big believer that you could learn something from anybody. You know, the corner workers that hold up a sign saying I'm broke as fuck, you know, please feed me, regardless if they are actually broke and hungry. Maybe they're not homeless. I mean, sometimes I've seen crazier shit happen. If I'm digressing, there was one story where I was outside of a Costco. I had some cash, and, you know, there was this semi-attractive young lady that was out front, like, asking for money. And I'm like, put my groceries in. I'm like, going, well, you know what? If she's really struggling, I'll give her $10 or whatever. And as I was walking over there to give her some money, some dude in, you know, a Corvette comes around, and she hops in the Corvette. And I'm going, oh, okay, so she was just a pretty face that was basically swindling people, right? But there is people that need help. But anyway, backing up, I could learn how to sell from somebody that is homeless, right? I can learn how to ride better from somebody like an AJ Catanzaro. It's all relative. Okay, so I could learn from somebody if they know more about how well refined fuels come from in batteries, essentially. Right, I'm going way off base here, but I had this little discussion with my wife not too long ago. But people were talking, some people close to me were giving me a hard time because I bought a hybrid Tundra that is a battery up till 15 miles an hour, doesn't need to be recharged. It recharges as you brake and if you go downhill, whatever. And then after 15 miles an hour, the turbo kicks in and the combustion engine turns on. It's really fast off the bottom for a little V6 truck, half-ton truck. I'm super impressed. I'm real pissed off about the gas mileage because they promised 18 to 22. I'm getting 15. And the reason why I got rid of my old Tundra was because it got 12. So I was like, hey, 12 to 18, I'm all game. But 12 to 14, 15, I'm like, what the fuck, Toyota? I love you guys, but come on, false advertising. Just stupid. Freaking stupid. But the argument that I was having, right? DJ, Jotty said digression. Yeah, I'm that's what I do. Could you imagine me in the booth? We'd be talking about something completely else besides what was racing going on. But honestly, I think I could do a pretty good job next to Carmichael and them. Not saying that I'd ever be allowed or want to do that, right? Those guys, they work their asses off, and rightfully so. I'm just a silly kid on the internet that analyzes the race afterwards. Okay. With that being said, back to my story that I was having with my wife. Her discussion is my friends were pissed off at me for buying a hybrid truck. And I'm telling them, guys, this is the future. Eventually it's going to be all, powered, all electric. And they're like, oh, well, our infrastructure's not built for it. And I'm like, yeah, of course our infrastructure's not built for it. But 100 years from now, yeah, we're probably, the power plants are going to turn, to where it's just the grid can handle it, right? At one point, internet was dial-up. You couldn't have more than 2 people on a website without the shit crashing. Now you have YouTube where it gets billions and billions of views every single day. It can hold the traffic with the server that it has, the bandwidth that it has. And, now you have optical internet where it's just as fast upload and download, right? Because it's just a light, it's not the coax cable anymore with the little copper cabling, the old shit that most houses are. Anyway, the next debate that we were having was, well, batteries, they're really bad for the environment. And I'm like, well, yeah, batteries don't go away. Battery acid is bad. It stays around for F and ever. But you guys are talking like an electric vehicle, a battery, something new, right? Every vehicle that I know of, small vehicles have at least 1 battery. Big effing vehicles have at least 3 batteries in it, right? So what's the difference with having just a bigger battery for it being electric? You still have the same effing problem that it's a battery. But you got companies like Apple that's coming out with solid-state batteries that are going to be more good for the environment because they're going to be able to be disposed of. There's no liquid and harmful chemicals in there. However, the discussion or the debate is those batteries, they take a lot of energy to produce. Like, I get it. I understand, guys. But you know what? Energy from the sun, if we weren't taking stuff from the grid, might be the way to look at charging vehicles, because charging a vehicle sucks right now. I have Tesla friends that have Model S's and spend way too much money on these damn things. And they're like, oh, I love it. It's great. But I'm like, well, you can't go anywhere in the country because you got to wait 2.5 hours to charge your damn vehicle. And then it's like $15,000 to put it into your house so that you can charge it. It's stupid. I really appreciate you guys sitting here in this chat talk about this stuff. Yeah. You guys are saying lithium is different than acid. Okay. You let me know what's up. Coal and powered is nice. But my point, right? My point in what I'd potentially like to know from you guys, ask you guys a question, is in my head, it kind of makes sense that, okay, you have an electric vehicle. The technology's not quite there yet. An electric bike, it's not quite there yet. People are pissed off about how bad it is for the environment. However, refined fuels is also bad for the environment. It might not be as bad when you go to fill up your bike. However, if you have an electric bike that never needs to be filled up, let's just say it's 100 times worse than the gas-powered bike. But then the gas-powered bike is going to be filled up more than 100 times in his lifetime. So does it even out? And does the actual electric end up being better for everybody around? Okay, this is the liberal in me, right? That's the liberal in me. That's just kind of how my head is going. I'm all for innovation. I want to see things progress in a good way. But, okay, Rob saying hydrogen is the cheapest, easiest way to the current infrastructure. Okay. Yeah, Toyota has spent billions of dollars on its hydroelectric stuff, and they're behind the 8 ball now because of guys like Tesla, because that just wasn't it. Now we have a big war with technology going on between AI, the whole chat GBT, and the metaverse, because like it or not, the metaverse is getting closer. It's not going to be long, right? Hear me out. It's not going to be long until we're buying tickets to virtual supercross races and concerts where you can see it and you literally have your headset on and you're there, right? It's probably going to be cheaper than actually being there, but you don't have to drive. You don't have to pay for $15 alcohol. You don't have to pay for $30 parking. You don't have to get in a fight with somebody who's drunk, who thinks they're bigger than you because they weigh 220 pounds and you're this small little SOB, and you look up at them and you're like, dude, you bumped into me. And they're like, well, no, fuck you, man. And you say, hey, that was really rude. And then they want to fight you. And then you go, you know what? It's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It's about the size of the fight of the dog. And then it just gets bad that your friends have to back you up. I'm not saying this from experience, right? That never happens to me. I'm just kidding. It seems like everywhere I go in public, for some reason, I'm always kind of getting a fight with somebody. Oh, if I'm on storytelling mode, I was at the dog park, right? I just ran 6 miles to the dog park with my daughter, and I was just not in the best mood because I had to run because I was having there's some stuff going on in my family, so I just needed to run to just release some stress. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to take my little girl, and we're going to go to the dog park. We go to the dog park. There's this big fucker who is lifting weights. He's got a pit bull, and of course, like a big fucker that takes drugs, his pit bull is not neutered, right? I don't know why they do it. It's the same reason if I offend anybody, hey, it's okay. I'm easily offended as well. It's like lifting your truck. Every time I see a lifted truck, I'm going, what are you compensating for? Anytime I see a pit bull or something and some guy that doesn't have him neutered, like, hey, he's going to be a little bit more aggressive, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, back to the story. I've got 2 pretty big dogs, right? I have a Rottweiler Shepherd. He's a big dude. And then I've got a troublemaker Husky, and she's like the pretty girl that always gets everybody in trouble. So anyway, they were all being dogs and playing and wrestling, and this guy was like, hey, I'm going to kick your dog. He's starting shit, and I just wasn't having it. The sensible person in me, as Marcus Aurelius would do, is just walk away from the situation. And I was like, no, fuck you, dude. And so I was like, no, dude, you're not going to kick my dog. And by the way, if something does go down, you're at fault here because you're breaking the rules. You have a pit bull that is not neutered in the dog park. I was just being a dick. So the guy's like, just stopped right there. I had the feeling he was only saying shit because he was 80 pounds heavier than me. And if I was another big dude, he probably wouldn't have said anything, right? Exactly. You know what? But I have a big ass mouth, and I can get myself in trouble on a blink of a dime. Okay? I might not be as quick on my feet or sometimes with my comebacks, but that was a time where I shut this dude up right away, and he was huffing and puffing, and I could tell he wanted to punch me in the face, but I'm like, man, you just look like a dick if you come up to a smaller man, and I'm holding a 2-year-old, and you're wanting to fight me. Man, there was another instance. Shit. I ended up crashing, and I was in my Sprinter van, and I had a little side gig where I was doing some closings as a notary. Anyway, my dog was in the back of my Sprinter van, and she puked. She was puking and peeing everywhere. So I had to pull over, and I ended up cutting some dude off and to let my dog out. And my wife actually jumped out because she was helping me, because the long of the story was, as this was happening, my dog ended up pooping all over my suit. You know, it was a nice Men's Warehouse suit. I spent like $2,200 for it. So it was a bummer, right? So she had to come save me, give me another suit so I looked professional so I could go do this real estate thing. Anyway, I cut this guy off, and she jumps out and lets her dog out to she's just over in the corner just pooping her brains out because she's got diarrhea, because who knows what the hell she ate. And this dude pulls out, and he's all cussing at me, blah, blah, blah. And so I flip him off. Because I'm just not having the day. I'm covered in shit. Like, I'm not in a good mood right now. So he gets out of his vehicle, and then I get out of my vehicle, and I got my crutches, and I got a sling because I just separated my shoulder, as well with had ACL surgery. So I could easily get beat up right at this moment, right? And he gets in my face, and he's just sitting there being all tall, because this dude was like 6'2", and he wanted to fight me. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Balance on one crutch and try to swing you with the other crutch, which I can't because I'm in a sling and I have a separated shoulder? Like, come on, you're just being an asshole, right? And my wife was back there. She ended up kind of telling him something, you know, how big is your dick if you're trying to fight this dude right now, because a fly could beat me, right? You just tip me over, just watch me kind of flop there, and you're going to win. You're going to win. It wasn't even a fight, but I just was in a bad mood because of a previous experience, right? It was just a bummer. So at the end of the day, I don't know why I get in some... Oh, okay. All right. Here's another story since I'm talking about, like, okay, there's something that happened at the last Supercross race I was at. I ended up, I don't know, almost getting in a fight with like 3 different people. 1 in the parking lot, 2 in the stadium. But okay, I won't tell that story. This was another story at a Bed Bath & Beyond, right? This was probably the most recent story. So anyway, I'm at Bed Bath & Beyond with my wife, and I'm just not paying attention to 6 feet because I don't give a shit. Like, it doesn't comprehend me that, like, I'm sorry, personal space. If I'm within a 6-foot bubble, I just stay the fuck home if you don't want people getting close to you. Okay, so here's this, let me elaborate. Here's this big dude, you know, he's probably 250, he's fat, right? You know, he's a bigger guy. And I kind of reach around him because there's this shiny water bottle that I want to look at. And I'm like, hey, babe, look at this water bottle, you know, and she's holding a baby. And she's like, oh, that's kind of a cool, Kung Fu Toe says, come at me, bro. I really need like an entourage of bigger people here because it's, yeah, it's just something. No, DJ is saying that I got a punchable face. Yeah, I probably do. But the also thing is that I stick up for myself and I'm small. I'm 150 pounds. I'd like to think I'm 5'9", but I'm probably 5'8.5", right? So I'm a small dude. And if you're bigger, you'd think you can kind of run over people, but that's not the case. You need to be respectful to people. You absolutely need to be respectful to people. So this guy, I grabbed this stuff, and he's just like, hey, what the fuck you doing? You know, you're in my bubble here. And I was like, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to get too close to you. And he just went off on me. And I was like, okay. And honestly, maybe the way that I trigger people is I'm a little bit calmer. So I'm like, dude, I don't appreciate how you're talking to me. Like, I get it that you have personal space, but you don't need to come at me like that. Hey, Dan, appreciate you hitting the subscribe button, because this is not how this was about. You know, Chopstick Chinaman, he won a giveaway. We did some cool recovery fuel. Make sure that you hang out for tomorrow, because we're going to talk about recovering from an acute injury and then the racing at the live show. But anyway, back to the story. He did not like me telling him that he basically should apologize because he was being a dick. And so he goes and checks out. And anyway, I strategically go and I check out, and I'm by the front door, right? And so he checks out before me, and he walks super close to me. And so I'm like, hey, excuse me, sir, but you just got into my bubble. I didn't appreciate you getting that close to me. Oh, man, this guy lost it. He absolutely lost it. I bet he broke his shit because everything you buy at Bed Bath & Beyond is A, overpriced, and B, it's fragile. So he throws his shit down. It cracks and gets everywhere. And the little petite, probably 4 foot nothing, 100-pound checkout girl's like, do you know him? And I'm like, no, I don't know him at all. Right? And she's like, well, do you want me to call somebody? I'm like, well, you might have the phone ready, because this has got to get intense here. And he's just like, meet me outside. It's like a hip-hop song. Meet me outside. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to freaking fight you because I got too close to you. Like, this is stupid. So I just walk around him, and I start walking back to my truck with my wife. And this dude just beelines it in the parking lot. I don't know if he's going to tackle me or what. So I'm just walking, expecting potentially to just have this big fat dude take me down, and I hit my forehead on the asphalt, and he stops right before he hits me, and he's all huffing and puffing, and he's like, let's go. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to fight you. Go, you're an adult. You're at least 10 years older than I am. Go back, buy your shit again because it's broke, and get in your car and go do something else. We don't have to do this. And I don't know what happened. You know, he eventually just walked on. Like, of course, could I potentially have beat him up? The likelihood of my punches and stuff would probably deflect off of, you know, they'd probably bounce back and I'd hit myself in the face. So you never get in a fight that you can't finish, right? You come from the high road, and maybe I need to just shut up sometimes. But I knew I probably couldn't beat this dude. So my best defense was telling him to just go somewhere else. And anyway, I've got countless stories like that. One of my best friends, he's a cop in Denver. And he's like, Johnny, I've never met somebody that is so nice, but yet has so much confrontation around him. And I'm like, dude, I don't get it. I don't know. If I knew, would I continue to do it? Probably. So it's probably me. It's probably me, right? But guys, I've been talking for 37 minutes about not too much. Oh, Kung Fu says punch and run. I am pretty quick. The only problem is I have my family with me right now. So I'm not going to get in a confrontation, especially when I'm protecting them, right? That's not how it works. They told them to get in the vehicle, and we'll see how this happens. But get ready to call somebody when shit gets real. Anyway, the moral of the story is I'm looking for some muscle, right? I'm looking for some guys to back me up, you know, not an entourage, because I kind of look like the dude from Entourage, but equal people that just like moto and are ready to throw down, because I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Anyway, till next time, I appreciate you guys. Look out for that recovery video tomorrow and the live show. And this was a little storytelling. Hey, Fat Tones, appreciate the subscribe, man. Appreciate the subscribe. And I do have to say thank you to all of you guys, because you guys have been hitting that subscribe button. You've given me a little bit of motivation, because there's been quite a bunch of shit that's gone on the internet, especially just my content was maybe not the most lighthearted, but it was real. And then I'm kind of a funny guy, and what's the right word? people's guilty pleasure, right? Where people will watch my stuff, but they won't say hi to me. It's kind of weird, right? And maybe I'm filling in my head too much, but I just want to say that I appreciate all the support that I've gotten. I try to read all the comments from all you guys, and I don't know everything, and so I learn from anybody, and I appreciate all the private messages and all the comments, even sometimes when they make me feel a certain way because I want to start a fight, but I'm like, yeah, there's a fine line between love and hate. Like, I appreciate you expressing your feelings. My platform is so that you can express your feelings, and racing, that's just plain and simple. And we're growing a good community, and I'm happy to see where the sport is going. But the digression is over. Till next time. Bra-da-da-da-da-whoa!